Hello and welcome to another Fantasy Premier League video. My name is Mo and this is my channel FPL Inkling. I'm back with another video, and again on your demand and popular request it's going to be rating your draft. So first of all, I put out a tweet a couple of days ago asking about if anyone would like me to rate their draft so they can put it out for me. So I always do videos around what my drafts look like, how I'm updating them. So do you know what? I thought I'd give you guys the opportunity to let me know what your thoughts are, any questions you have, and let me know what I could help you with in terms of your draft. So I was overwhelming. Thank you for all your tweets and your responses and your messages. I really appreciate it. And thank you for enlightening me with all these drafts and being able to see how you guys are playing, how you're thinking, and what your thought processes are. Thank you so much for all the positive response for the first part of the reviews of my drafts, and this is back, and we are back with a second draft, guys. So before we get looking into your drafts, I just want to say, if you've been here before and you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. Help me reach that 1k mark before the start of the season. And in addition, if you like this content, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up icon and let me know that you've liked it indeed. So there's a few drafts we're going to go through today, guys. I'm going to give you my verdict on it, where I think you've done really well, where I think you guys can potentially add some value to it. And if there is no value needed, I think it's absolutely perfect. I'll also let you know that as well. Just to let you guys know, this is just my opinion. I'm only going to let you guys know what I feel. So, you know, there is no right or wrong in FPL. This is what makes this whole game so beautiful, that millions of players can play this, but everyone will have, you know, their own opinions, and no one's right and no one's wrong until the game week takes place, and then we can always in hindsight say, if only. So let's get stuck in, guys. On screen, what you guys have is my current draft. So I can go through my draft with you guys. 4-4-2, Sanchez in goal, Alexander-Arnold, White, Kofel, Shaw, Salah captain, Fernandes vice captain, Son, Harrison, Bamford and Watkins. And then I've got a bench which Byron Basuma won't play many minutes. Manculia might get a game or two here and there, but otherwise I've invested for the first 6 weeks all of my funds on the team I expect to be playing week in, week out. So let's not waste any further time, guys. Let's get stuck into your drafts and let's see what we have in store. So first we've got Ashton, Ashton Tan or Ashton 8 on Twitter, who's given their team. So I really like the 3-4-3 formation. So that formation is actually one of the most popular picked formations last season and so far this season in terms of the drafts I've seen, and many other experts who are releasing their thoughts on how they want to set up indeed themselves. So I really like the first look at this team. I really liked the balance of it. So let's go from the back. So we've got Pickford in there, a good choice. So Pickford had a really good season for Everton. Now in regards to last season's performances, so we can have a look at what he achieved as a goalkeeper for Everton. They didn't keep many clean sheets. However, he did get 114 points, 8.1%, you know, managers owned him. So he was about 5 million price right now, 10 clean sheets, but you know, he had a season a couple of years ago where he got nearly 160 points, well, just over 160. So it shows that it can be done. I think with Benitez, it will kind of shore them up a bit. So I think that's a really good shout. This is the first draft I've seen actually with Pickford. So I'm giving you a big thumbs up there to go a bit different. And you've invested 5 million in, I think, a very, very respectable goalkeeper. Looking at the defence, I think that defence is an absolute powerhouse. You got Robertson, Alexander-Arnold. So I like the double up. Obviously with the Liverpool fixtures in the first 8. Playing the 3 promoted sides, really, really like that in terms of strength there. So rather than investing 7.5 in someone like Jota, who there could be minutes issues in terms of Firmino and balance of the squad, at least you know that 7 mil or 7.5 mil with Alexandra, Arnold and Robertson, you're going to get these players playing for you. Luke Shaw in the defence as well, a really good pick. One of my players of the season from last season for Manchester United as a United fan. Plus, he played really well in the Euros for England and scored in the final as well. And I think he can get better and better. And, you know, he's in all my drafts that I've released personally. So I think that's a really solid defence. Great back four. Good start. They've got Ayling and White. So they've got 2 players on the bench that can actually come on, let's just say, anywhere on the team there is any rotation. So I really like that thought process in terms of having a balanced squad across 5 defenders. Now, they've got Trossard in midfield. Good shout. I haven't seen many drafts with Trossard in, but generally, I think maybe he might be one of the players who might kind of be like the, you know, there are managers who are saying at the moment, and I've had people also message me saying, is he going to be the next Dallas next season? We're going to have to wait and see. Listed as a midfielder, but he's not listed as a defender, so he probably might not be the Dallas equivalent in terms of FPL, but he certainly can get the, you know, numbers that Dallas got last season in terms of goals and assists. We'll just have to wait and see. Sancho, Salah. So that's good. It's a nice little combo. Many managers have decided to downgrade or kind of like swap Sancho for Bruno. So I really like that combo in terms of Salah and Sancho. And then Bundia, again, had a really good start of the season in terms of pre-season. Assists setting up, and I think, there's a lot to come from him as we go along. So a real solid for midfield, and they got Brownhill as well on the bench. Now, three strikers up front: Wilson, Watkins, Antonio. Again, great power at the front. I expect them to be fit and ready for the start of the season. The only thing that I'm very sceptical of Wilson and Antonio is they're both injury prone. So that's something that we can look out for or monitor across the season. The only question I have is if we were, let's say, to consider bringing them or upgrading them or changing them in terms of Wilson and Antonio, there are alternative 7.5s like Iheanacho, again, minutes for Daka as well for 7.5. You've got players at 8 mil like Danny Ings, DCL, Bamford, but again, if needed be, you need to make those changes. You can downgrade Ayling from 4.5 to, let's say, like a 4 mil defender who you're not going to play, and upskill or upgrade any of them from 7.5 to 8 mil. So that looks like a pretty easy swap there as well. But I generally really like the balance of this squad. Not too much negatives in my opinion, or any weaknesses that I can see personally. Begovic in goal and Brownhill, to make up the rest of the defenders. So Ashton 10, I'm giving you a big thumbs up. That's a really good draft, by the way. I'm really impressed by the way you've diversified this team itself. And I think, if everyone's fit and raring to go, I generally believe you can score some really big points as we begin the first couple of game weeks of this season. Now moving on to number 2. He is called 50 a day. So if you want to follow him on Twitter, at 50 a day. And this is the team presented. Again, Pickford came in the goal. Again, I really like that pick because they're playing Southampton the first game weeks. And Everton have one of the best early fixture run-ins at the start of the season. So I can expect quite a few clean sheets from them. A double up from Everton in terms of Coleman in defence. Diaz, Fofana, Robertson. Now, this is one of the first drafts that I've seen with Diaz in, and I really like that picture, because he was kind of the main defender of Manchester City last season. Only got part of like 1 goal assist or goal scored last season. However, defensively quite sound, scored around 140 odd points. So, he's going to be like their nailed on defender along with John Stones, in my opinion. And I think if I was to play like a wild card and I was going to change or have any changes to defences, it may be a chance where I might go, either Diaz or Stones based on how I want to play my wild card. But Diaz is a really good shout, along with Fofana, 4.5 mil from Leicester. I like that little spread of funds, kind of, nicely diversified. And they've gone Robertson rather than Trent. So a really good kind of balance out squad. But one thing I would personally say is, looking at this squad personally, based on fixtures, why not consider for 6.5 mil? Let's see, I think it's Diaz is 6.5, if I can double check that. Let's have a look. So Diaz is 6 mil, sorry. So I was just personally thinking, at 6 mil at Diaz, like if there's potentially we could get another 0.5 mil anywhere, why not double up on Liverpool defence? So if we can take 0.5 mil from anywhere else on like the team itself, so you've got potential like Torres we could change, or Foden who's on the bench. Why not use that 0.5 mil to upgrade to a Van Dijk? I like Diaz as a pick, but if you look at it from a favourable fixtures point of view, Van Dijk might suit you better for the first 8 game weeks, and then Diaz might be a more virtual kind of an option. But that's just something that I've just thought of. Otherwise, Diaz is an absolute perfect player to have in there. But Van Dijk might be of thought to have where if you downgrade from Foden on the bench, unless you want to really keep him, and you want to downgrade Torres either by 0.5 mil, that's something that you can actually look into maybe considering for the first couple of game weeks itself. Midfield, absolutely solid. Salah captain, Rafinha, who I really, really rate and I think is underpriced. Son and Torres. Now, in terms of Ferran Torres, personally, are there alternatives who I think could potentially do better for that price in the midfield? Again, do we look at potentially Jack Grealish? But I like the differential aspect. If Torres starts and he's definite to play, then that is an absolute great shout, to be fair, because last season when he did go big, he did indeed go big. So it's against Tottenham as well. So a double up on Man City. So it would be worth checking that out in terms of a good check up. But I really like the differential aspect for Torres, because I think in terms of ownership, if we have a look at Torres himself, yeah, 3.1% ownership. He got 7 goals and 4 assists last season with 95 points. But when he does get an opportunity, the guy does go big. And in terms of Foden as well, if he doesn't get a chance, at least Foden's on the bench to come on and really take advantage of that. So I think that's a really good compliment on those two players. So big thumbs up there from me on this draft on that part. Calvert-Lewin, Watkins, perfect partnership up front. Both great young talents of the England game, and they've got obviously the bench with Ben White to come on if they need a player. Foster, great backup keeper, and Obafemi as well as a striker. So for me, you get a big thumbs up, 50 at it. I really like this draft, 4-4-2, classic. The way I like to play the game, that's the formation I really enjoy personally as a manager on FPL. Great squad. And you know what, to be fair, if all these players start, and with the differentials in there as well that you do have, wow, I think you can have a cracking start to the season. Obviously, we can look at that DS option as well. Have a look into it. Let me know what your thoughts are. But for me, if you can upgrade him to a Van Dijk, that may suit you well in the first 8 game weeks. Now, moving on to FPL Buffalo. In terms of the draft itself, 3-4-3. Now, there was a few things that really caught my eye on this draft itself, so I'll begin with those. Obviously, Trent's in the defence and Sanchez in goal. You've got Digne. So Luca Digne has been brought in. Really good fixtures, as I mentioned, for Everton as well, so I like that balance. He gets pretty much, I think, 9 assists last season, so he's pretty high in terms of returns as well. And Kofel, so 3 wing-backs, covers the defence very nicely. And in terms of Lamptey, he's injured at the moment, so potentially, obviously, when this was submitted to me, I would personally say in terms of Lamptey, look at alternative 4.5 options: Fofana, Ben White. I mean, you've got Fofana in there already, so maybe Ben White in the squad would be a good shout at the moment. So have a look around, potentially to change it through, and that might be better suited for the beginning. And then obviously when Lamptey's back up and fitness again, you could bring him back into your squad. Now the midfield, Fernandes and Salah, obviously the great combination. Smith Rowe along with Bundir. I really like that Smith Rowe option because I watched the Mind Series game between Arsenal and Chelsea over the weekend. And Smith Rowe got into some really good positions for a number 10. Obviously didn't have the ability to set up or finish off a goal. But, if that's something to go by in pre-season and that's how he's going to play for the rest of the season, I think there's some really high expectations from him. Only at 5.5 mil. So I'm actually thinking in my draft that if he does start off well, I'm going to watch the Brentford game, see how he goes. There's also a Spurs game on this weekend coming along for the same kind of charity series. And if he can give a good performance, he might be someone that I might look to bring in, get that half a mil and use it elsewhere in my squad. So watch out for that. Smith Rowe, I think, is a very, very good shout. In terms of the front three, Antonio, Watkins and Tony. We already discussed the other 2 strikers, but Tony, I think, is a really good shout. Owned by around 30% of managers already. Great championship season last season. For me, my motto is I'd never go for promoted players unless I see them initially from my initial draft. So I'll never get them in immediately. I want to see how they come in and how they perform on the FPL level itself. But Tony's worth it. He's got Arsenal first game to see, at home with the adrenaline, see how they can do. He's on penalties, great assists, and goal scoring record last season in the Championship. Looking at the bench, Fofana and Rafinha on the bench, that's a really strong bench. And I like the option that they got in terms of switching as well. Now, potentially, what I would potentially look into this is, is there an option to get potentially get Smith Rowe downgraded to like a 4.5 midfielder like a Basuma, put Rafinha in the team at 6.5 in midfield, and maybe use that million elsewhere if you want to. That's just an opinion. That's just a suggestion. Maybe like a Kofal to a Cresswell, a Tony up to like a 7.5 like a Wilson or somewhere. That's an option. But if you like to have the strong bench, this is one of the strongest benches I've seen in terms of a draft and like equality across the whole 15-man squad. I'm giving you a big thumbs up for this one, FPL Buffalo. I really like it. Around periods like Christmas and stuff where there's back-to-back games, this kind of a draft and thought in squads will definitely serve you well. So big thumbs up from me, FPL Buffalo. Great draft. Now moving on to Owen Smith, 061. So the draft again is followed 4-4-2. Backman in goal, who had a really good championship last season. Clean sheets, helped Watford get promoted. Got Villa first game. Defence, again, pretty much substandard. Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, Wan-Bissaka, White. So a really good standard choice of most managers in FPL at the moment. I really like it. A lot of depth in there. Now the midfield, I really caught my eye. You got Rafinha, Salah, Son, but you got Mason Mount. Now not many managers are looking at Mason Mount at the moment. His figures generally from last season, don't show much in terms of assists and goals, which I think was like 14 returns with goals and assists. But he's got some really good fixtures to start off with in terms of Crystal Palace. I know they've got Chelsea, got a couple of difficult fixtures, but from game week 7 onwards, guys, to like 11 or 13, I think. There's like 5 to 7 games where they absolutely have a really good patch. But Mount takes corners, takes free kicks, he's on set pieces, and he's usually involved. And he's usually the kind of like the common name on the Chelsea team sheet rather than rotation. So that's a really good shout there. Wilson Watkins up front. I liked Out Nori on the bench. That's a good shout. He's kind of tipped by me that, you know, maybe potentially next season he could be the next Dallas. Brownhill, Tony on the bench. So you've got a striker on the bench for 6.5. Now, the other question I could potentially say is if you downgrade Tony from 6.5 to, let's say, like a 4.5 forward, you can actually upgrade Mount to Sancho. Maybe that could add a bit of depth to you, Owen. That's just a suggestion. I think having a £6.5 million forward on the bench is a bit too much for me personally. But that's entirely your choice. If you want to have the flexibility, entirely your choice, but it's just a suggestion. Maybe you could bump up to 9.5 from Mount to Sancho, and you could actually kind of like boost the squad strength in your first 11. So a really good draft again, and you get a big thumbs up from me, Owen, and thank you for submitting your draft to me as well. The next draft we've got is Shaggy. So this draft is a 4-3-3, and again, a nice back four with a goalkeeper, Shaw, Alexandra, Arnold, Robertson, Fofana. I really like it with Sanchez as well. Now the midfield, I'll tell you one player that really caught my eye, Saka. Now Saka for me was phenomenal in the Euros Championship and last season. It's a shame he missed that penalty, but you know what? This kid can hold his head up high and he should be proud of what he's achieved so far for club and his country. I think he's going to have a great season this season. I'm tipping him to have a good season. I really want to see how he settles in at the start of the season along with Pepe, Aubameyang, Smith Rowe, and, you know, the back line as well in terms of Ben White and Kieran Tierney. I want to see how Arsenal settle. And if he does come good, definitely Bukayo Saka is someone who I'm looking at. So potentially I might change Harrison to Saka. So I really like that pick, by the way. Along with Fernandes and Salah, it's a really good complement across the three. The front three, Tony, Antonio and Iheanacho. Really like the Iheanacho pick. Now for me, Iheanacho was nailed on to be one of my strikers this season. The one thing that's actually really put the spanner amongst the works here is the fact that they signed Daka and he's scoring pre-season as well. So there's a bit of a dilemma who's going to really play. Are they going to play the 4-5-1 system with Vardy up front alone and Iheanacho and Daka having the sub appearances for Europe and other competitions? I don't know. So there's a lot of headache in terms of Leicester at the moment. Who's going to play? Even Vardy, I'm not nailed on. Is he going to get like the game time as well or not? But Iheanacho's a good shout. And points per game, he was absolutely insane in the last 10 games of the season. So if he does kind of replicate that form again, firstly, it's not going to be possible to keep him out of the squad by Brendan Rodgers. And secondly, it's going to be hard for us to keep him out of our squads. So that's a really good shout. With Leicester's fixtures, with Wolves' first game at home, I think with the crowds back, it may be a good chance for Iheanacho to really get some points. But I think that's a really good differential pick there. So I want to give you a big thumbs up there, Shaggy. In terms of the bench, Billy Gilmore, nice. I like that. 4.5 mil on loan from Chelsea to Norwich. Yep, they got some difficult games the first 3 games. But do you know what? Billy Gilmore has the talent. And do you know what? If you can kind of replicate the form that Tom Cantwell showed at part of a season when last time they were in the Premier League, that might serve him really well. But generally, overall, I really like the balance to the squad. 4-3-3. I think there's depth in all 3 departments with a solid goalkeeper and a great bench. So Shaggy, big thumbs up from me there. Spurs fans. Spurs _fan 243. So I apologise if I can't pronounce the name properly, but Ariabrata Samada. Thank you so much for submitting this squad. And again, this squad, it really catches my eye as well. So all squads were absolutely phenomenal in their own rights. And this is what's made this video that much more special for me, because all drafts have had their own flavour. And that's what kind of really kind of like, you know, makes this game so unique, that every draft that you look at, you can look with like a clear frame of mind, and you can really get to understand what people are thinking in terms of their management strategy and how they think they can really deliver the best in terms of a 38-game marathon. So let's have a real look at this. So in the defence, they've got Digne, Alexander-Arnold with Sanchez in goal. Matt Targett's been selected for Aston Villa. Now, in terms of Aston Villa last season, he did really well. And, you know, with Martinez in goal behind him, clean sheets were really solid. Can they replicate again this season? Of course they can. They've done it one season. Why can't they do it again? They got Watford first game away, so I think that's a really good pick there. In terms of other defenders, Manquillo and Connor Cody. So again, they got Cody on the bench to come on if anything in terms of like rotation or injuries come along. So a real good pick there in terms of the back five. Now the midfield, Rafinha, Pepe, Son, Salah. Now Pepe, again, is someone that I've got on my watch list. Now last 5-6 games of the season, along with penalties and other assists and goals he scored, he really did catch some real good form. I've seen him in the game a day or two ago against Chelsea. Again, I'm starting to see a bit of glimpses, but if he can catch that same form at the end of last season at 7.5 mil, this guy might be a real bargain. So a top thumbs up decision there. And I really respect your bravery there for choosing him in your draft immediately. So big thumbs up there, considering I can tell you're a Spurs fan, choosing an Arsenal player must have taken some real guts. So commendable, really, big thumbs up to you and positive thinking from you there. Son and Salah, great selection. And up front, I like Cavani. Cavani, something really caught my eye with. Antonio Watkins, Cavani will probably get some minutes originally. There's no cup competition, so they'll be well rested every weekend. Cavani's likely to get some really good game time. And they got some really good fixtures to start off in the first 5-6 game weeks for United. So again, he's a really good differential option, a real good spread of funds here as well, with Foster, Brownhill and Manquillo on the bench as well, along with Cody. So Spurs fan, a big thumbs up from me. I really like your draft. And thank you so much for submitting that in. So what is my overall take on these drafts? So what I want to generally just say is I'm really personally impressed by the thought process that everyone has given and the time that they spent. Obviously, firstly, to send it over across to me, but generally just the squads they've made. It's really inspiring to see their decision making, the bravery, and I'd say, the bold step of making those moves that, something that I may not consider at the moment. But that's what makes this game so amazing. Like someone like myself, I've gone for a Bamford, Watkins. You've gone for a Cavani, Pepe. You've gone for these unique players, Saka, Bundia. These are the kind of players that you've gone for. And I really respect the fact that, every team has its own unique flavour and strength and, has the ability to really do well in itself. And that's what makes this game so great. The glass might be half full for me, half empty for yourself, or vice versa. This is the beauty of FPL itself. So thank you so much for submitting your drafts, guys. This is your FPL drafts video again, guys. Let me know what your thoughts were. Did you enjoy it? What are your thoughts on my draft? What are your thoughts on the drafts that I presented? Did you like it? Give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, guys, please hit that subscribe button. You're doing a fabulous job for helping me get to that 1K mark before the start of the season. Not long to go, but also not too many subscribers left. So please get clicking as soon as possible. I'll see you soon. This is your best channel for FPL content. My name is Mo. See you soon with some more content, guys.